I would like to introduce Linda Averett and Sean Alexander from Digital Media, and they're going to give us about an hour and 15 minutes worth of really awesome demos for Windows Media. So I'm turning over to you guys. Thank you.
Thanks, Evan. My name's Sean Alexander. I'm the technical product manager in the digital media division of Microsoft. We're here with one of the senior architects of Windows Media Player and the digital media functionality in Windows XP, Linda Averett. So just out of curiosity, how many of you have downloaded an MP3 in the last month? How many have downloaded them from services? Exactly. I was a big MP3 user myself, working over in developer tools up until, I guess, about 2 years ago. And I was lurking around on the corporate intranet and actually found an early release copy of Windows Media Audio. So started playing around with that and said, this stuff is really cool. I got to come over to this division. So for the last 2 years, it's been a long road for us. But we've made some amazing strides from an operating system perspective in terms of making digital media one of those core activities that you can do with your PC. Believe it or not, digital media is now one of the top 4 activities that consumers are doing with their PCs. Be it emailing and browsing, the internet are 2 of the most popular. Gaming and digital media, listening to internet radio, downloading MP3s, as you all just pointed out here just a second ago. So what we really wanted to do with Windows XP was make it the best operating system for digital media and digital entertainment. So how do we do that? Well, the first thing that we have to do is we have to move away from this concept of applications. Consumers don't go to a particular application or go to the PC and say, okay, I want to use this application to listen to my streaming media. I want to go to this application for my jukebox functionality. I want to go to this other application to burn my audio CDs. It's all these different disparate technologies that make mainstream consumers very confused. So that's why when you take a look at Windows XP, we're really talking about an end-to-end experience. Be it whether or not you're discovering new content or ripping your own audio CDs, transferring those over, managing your playlists, or burning them out to an audio CD, or taking that content out to a portable music device, we wanted to make it as seamless as possible. So that's on the audio side. There's also this mainstream activity which is starting to become very popular. Of course, watching streaming video, and more recently, for those with broadband connections, downloadable movies. Just out of curiosity, how many here in the audience have broadband internet connections in the home today? Oh my Lord. So for those of you who can't be here, everybody, just about everybody raised their hands. So how many of you have like a 300 kilobit per second connection or lower? Really? So 300 kilobit. 500 kilobit. Okay, more hands are going up. Higher than that? My gosh. Excellent. Well, you're going to be, I think, really excited with what we have to show you here today in terms of Windows Media Technologies. So what are we doing with Windows XP? We're really all about delivering this best player experience and delivering the best jukebox experience inside of, for example, Windows Media Player for Windows XP. We also want to take the home video experience and make it more mainstream. How many of you have played with a home video editing package today? Okay. Quite a few hands went up. So one of the things that we found was that mainstream consumers, they're starting to get into digital still photography. But the hurdle, the technical hurdle in terms of doing like home videos and home video editing is still too high with the packages that are available today. So what we wanted to do was make that even easier while also improving, for those of you in the audience who actually do this today, the experience with new support for digital video codecs, higher bit rates, and things like that. So we'll be taking a look at that here in a second. So what I'd like to do now is turn it over to Linda, who's going to talk to us about specifically Windows Media for Windows Media Player for Windows XP and the music scenarios that Windows XP enables.
Great. Can you guys hear me? Cool. Well, we wanted to make sure that the users had a great digital media experience in Windows XP. So to accomplish that, we've actually done work all across Windows. I just stuck in my CD here, in case you guys wondered what magic was happening. We've done work all across Windows. We've done work in IE. We've done work in Shell. We've done work in the Windows Media Player. So I'm going to go over a bit of that with you. So for Windows Media Player for XP, we actually concentrated on 3 key areas. The first area was expanding on our all-in-one easy to use. That's had great acceptance in the market, provides good user value. We get good user feedback on that. So we've added two big scenarios to that all-in-one experience. One is integrated DVD playback with some very visual full-screen controls that I think Sean is going to show you in his part, because I'm going to concentrate on music. Another is totally integrated CD burning, so that users can actually burn in the same way and in the same style that they do when they export to any kind of portable device. So all pulls right into the player. The second area that we concentrated on was responding to our primary user feedback. And there's three key areas in there that we actually looked at. One was just the look and feel of the player, how much room it took up on the desktop, how much it could be customized. Another was performance, in particular performance anytime you're actually trying to play media, like double-clicking on a file and the actual full length of time between there and when the player launches and you can actually play. Third was really making it compelling and easy for MP3 users to use their MP3s in Windows and have a great experience. Then the last area that we actually focused on for this release was usability across the player. And I'm going to be pointing some of those key areas out to you as we go through. That feedback came both from users and from our own usability testing that we do. So let's just take a look through the media player. So first of all, you notice that I put the CD, I came up. Now down here, if you've used the player at all, you're familiar that we actually do offer album art and metadata for all the CDs that we play and for the content that you actually rip within the player. What we have added here for users' convenience, although it wouldn't impact you guys on your high-speed DSL, is that we do actually display this metadata when users are offline now. Because modem users typically will be offline, they'll go online, get their metadata, and they'll be running offline again. So we actually keep this information down here to show them. Now, let's take a look at what we've actually done. Remember I said one of our big feedbacks is the look and feel of the player. So first of all, primary input was how big it was and that it couldn't be customized and you couldn't take it down small enough. So you can see that in general, we've actually lightened up the look and it blends in nicely with XP. We've also made it so that you can actually take it down to a very small footprint, and as I just did, you can turn off the taskbar. Now we do expect, based on our user feedback, for a lot of the users to actually run this way when they're listening to media, when they already have their libraries constructed, because from the playlist drop, is it too loud? They can't hear me? Oh my goodness, how do I adjust it?
Just move it further down.
Oh, this way?
Yeah, further down.
Further down? Sorry guys. You know, usually I don't even need a mic. Not being a soft-spoken type of person.
Like a war team meeting?
What?
Like a war team meeting?
Okay. Am I like blasting you guys out now? All right. So anyway, based on our feedback, we actually expect people to run in this mode when they've already got their library in place, because when the playlist drop down, they can actually get at all their content. In fact, this time, due to user request, we actually added the artists as well. What we've actually found is that a lot of people can't remember the name of their albums, but they can remember the name of the artist that they like, which is why we actually put that in the drop down. Now, when you're running in this, notice that we auto-hide on the menu. This is, in fact, the way we will ship. This is the default, that we will have the auto-hide on. What this means is that if you're not using the menus, you actually have a very nice, clean, light look and feel. And if you just slide your mouse up there to where the menus might be, you have full access to the menus. You can get at all the player functionality that way. So you can actually run in this very small footprint and still get at all of your functionality. Now, one of the things we found as we were testing it is that does annoy some group of people. So we actually have, this can toggle it on and it can toggle it off. That's been very useful for users to actually discover the feature. And in addition, for some of the hardcore users, as we were testing it, we found that they wanted it off totally. So we do actually just let you hide the menus altogether. Now, One of the things I wanted to show you while we're actually in this playback mode is one of the features that we have added. If I can find the sample playlist here. Is it renamed, John?
Maybe. Just go down to David Byrne.
Fine. We'll go down to the artist. Hello, David, where are you?
There he is. 4 above.
Got him? Okay. Now, one of the things that I actually want to show you, and since this is a sample track, I'm actually going to expand it a bit here. We now have the capability to display lyrics. This has met with rave reviews from 2 groups of people. The younger crowd, who's actually surfing around all the time for lyrics and really wants to see them, and the really hardcore music guys and girls. So those 2 ends, they've been really excited with this feature, and there's actually one addition. We can actually also display the album art in the visualization area. Now this is particularly compelling when you go to a genre filter and you're playing a collection of artists, or whether you've made your own playlist. So this is one of the nice things we've actually added in this release for your playback environment.
So this actually works for both MP3s and WMAs, right? We're supporting ID3V2.
Sean is absolutely correct. So if you have all your MP3s out there and you've actually gone to the trouble to put lyrics in your MP3s and to add album art to your MP3s, as we play those files, we'll display the album art and the lyrics for those as well. So all very nice and easy. And the way you actually do this, if you do it within the player, is you can actually go to the properties dialog. It's pretty typical from any place you're doing MP3 type editing or WMA type editing. And you can type it in or paste it in. So that's actually how you get them in.
Yeah, so for licensing reasons, we can't actually go out and retrieve the lyrics for your files today, but you can go to a site like lyrics.com and copy and paste them yourself, or you'll actually, when you download or purchase music online, you'll be able to, most of the time, get lyrics in those files themselves.
Right. Okay, so let's move on a bit. So as you're building your library, you know, one of the first things you're trying to do is get media on your hard drive. And so, you know, most users, a common way of doing that is actually ripping their CDs or copying from CD to computer, as most normal users think of it. Now, what you'll see is that one of the usability changes that we made, and I'm going to go ahead and start this copy here while I talk to you. We renamed the button to copy from CD, because one of the things we found is that users who are used to the media area like yourselves, they're fully you know, they know all about ripping, they know what that means. Like mainstream America still has no idea. Copy from CD is understandable, discoverable, so we actually made that change so that more users could actually figure out what to do. So we've made a number of usability changes in this screen, in this task to make it actually easier. One is you can see the subtle display that we're actually giving you as we copy, with the gradient rolling over it. That was actually to help users understand what was going on, to see it, to actually tune into it. Another is, you'll see down here at the bottom, we actually are reporting where the music is going to. This was requested by many people, even though users can actually set that in the options dialog. They really just wanted to know where the content was going. So we did add that in there to help people out. Also, notice that we've really tried to make the metadata more discoverable and easier to use for all of our users. So when you click on that, it's going to come up in this split screen view, so that you can actually, while your content is ripping, you can be perusing your metadata. And this is a fully adjustable. You can drag it to any level that you want to. We picked one that accommodated seeing both the tracks and the metadata. So that's actually quite nice for the users, and has turned out to be a lot more discoverable. Now, we are ripping, of course, to WMA. Great value for the users, a lot of quality, small footprint. The default bit rate that we choose is 64 kbs. We're using the new Windows Media 8 codecs. So we have excellent quality at 64K, and to most users' ears, this is a CD quality rip. It is equivalent, again, if you do taste tests, in most users' ears, it is as good as 128 MP3, and of course it's half the size. Now, one of the other things that we've added is we can actually also now rip to 48K WMA. That's one of the big things that the new V8 codecs added. And you have very near CD quality. Many users really just can't tell the difference. It's that good. And we can do that at rip time, or even perhaps more likely is when you're going to a portable device, we can transcode to that. We have improved our transcoding ability such that the quality, if you go from a higher, let's just say you're a music lover and you guys are ripping at a higher quality and you transcode to 48K when you go to a device, that is a very much improved experience, and the quality will be really good.
So just one thing I wanted to mention here, one of the major usability issues that we found with WMA is that people automatically think, oh, it's copy protect only. I have to copy protect all of my content, and it's locked to my machine, so I can't share it around on my home network, for example. Well, one thing you'll notice, actually, it didn't pop up this time, but when you first go to rip a CD in Windows Media Player for Windows XP, it pops up a dialog box and says, here are the rights that you have to your content. Click here to turn off personal rights management, and that way you can go ahead and take your WMAs and put them on your file share in your home, for example, and listen to it whether or not you're on your PC or maybe your wife's PC or your kids' PCs. So it makes it a lot easier for you. It's a lot more discoverable.
Right. The big thing is we're just informing users now so that they actually have the option and can make the choice. One other thing I would like to point out is, we are ripping to WMA. That is our default. We have added the capability in the XP version of the player for an MP3 encoder to be plugged in. So that might be plugged in by an OEM, or it might be plugged in by an end user who gets the encoder from some other place. And it's a very simple way to plug it in, just a few registry settings, and once you have secured your encoder, we are capable of ripping to MP3. Now, we're still defaulting to the WMA. That's our standard. Yeah.
Working on plugging into that.
We actually have a couple vendors which we can't name at this time, which are interested in doing this. We originally designed it to primarily be an OEM deliverable. So for example, a major computer manufacturer who considers this to be a part of their criteria could certainly go out and license one. But as Linda pointed out, WMA is our default format, and the reason for that is that all the major portable devices today support Windows Media Audio. All the major, even PC players, Winamp, Real Jukebox, all of them support the Windows Media Audio format. When you take a look at MP3, MP3 is a great technology, but it's the 8-track of the digital media age. It's been around for over 12 years. When it was originally developed, a 486 33 megahertz was the most powerful, mainstream consumer PC out on the market. So what we're doing now is WMA is able to capitalize on 5 years of Microsoft Research's investment in psychoacoustics and delivering CD quality at compressed sizes.
Sean's right, and of course we're just trying to make sure that people who have large collections of MP3s can use them just as well as they can use content in WMA, and provide the option, if somebody really wants it, that they can actually get to it. Okay, so a normal user scenario, I'll put in the CD, I've ripped some, then you would actually go to the library. You can actually see that I've got my rip tracks here, and we've ripped it several times, so you're actually seeing multiple stings here, but that's fine. No big deal here as we actually want to look through it. I want to show you some of the things that we actually have added in the library. So one thing, if I wanted to add some of these tracks to a playlist, we have this capability now called Add to Playlist, and it lets you, right in that dialog, create a new one. So we'll just create that with my initials here so that we can actually find it. And I'm going to go down to that playlist. Now, the significance of that add to playlist is that's actually exposed not only all over the Windows Media Player, but it's also in the shell as well. So the same mechanism that you're using to create a new playlist or add things to a playlist, you can actually get to in My Music or any place else that you actually have music. So it's easy and consistent for the user. Now, one of the tweaks I wanted to actually point out to you here in the library is you'll see down here at the bottom, we're now reporting the length in time and in size. Now, we're doing that because we discovered that users actually make playlists for a particular reason. If they don't have some reason, they're just as likely to listen to it by genre or artist or whatever. But when they get ready to make a playlist, they're going to have a party, or they're going to burn a CD, or they're going to export it to a portable device. And that they care in all three of those cases very much usually about how long it is, and how much room it's going to take up. So we've provided this information right in place where they're building the playlist so that it's just a lot easier. You could actually get at this information before. It was just like, fairly cumbersome. So we wanted to make that really easy for users. And one other little tidbit, and then we'll move into My Music. One of the things that we can do here, and we could do before, but we've made some improvements, is we can edit any of the metadata right here in the library. Now these edits are actually written back into the file, and that's true whether you're editing WMA or MP3s. Remember, we wanted to let people who have these large collections of MP3 use them on equal footing and have a great experience. So if you edit your MP3 metadata, it will go back out into the file. And you notice that we have added this really nice hover that actually shows all the basic metadata. And that's present anywhere we're showing tracks. So it's present in the playlist drop-down, it's present here in the library, it's present in the shell as well, so that you can actually get a look at all of your key metadata, no matter where it is that you're actually hovering over that track. Yes?
This metadata list, is that in such a spot where users can like export it and write access reports or something?
So the basic metadata is all in the file, all right? And so you would actually have to be able to retrieve it from the file. The content in the library is accessible via the OCX, but via our OCX control, but a little applet would have to actually be written to get at that and print it out. And just so you know, as is true for all access via our OCX, the user actually gets to control the rights to prevent, somebody from embedding an OCX in a web page and coming in and grabbing all their metadata. So there is a tools options capability.
Next question, this file, do we have the capability to put it where we want it to be put?
State
File?
Absolutely. She's actually going to get to that here in a second.
Yes. Yes.
Can you guys repeat the questions for those in the back, if you don't mind?
Oh, sure. Yes, going forward. How about that? Yes, do that. Okay, so you saw some of the edits here and what we've done. So another primary way of actually getting content into your library is downloading music. So let's take a look at what we've done to actually facilitate that. Now, what you're looking at now is My Music, and I think probably most of you are already familiar with XP, that I got to it right here off of the Start menu. Now, you notice that we do have a visual presentation of the contents of My Music, and from the many thumbs, you can actually tell when you have multiple albums under one of the artists. So, really nice way of actually presenting it and letting you browse through. Lots of top-level functionality is available in the web view in My Music. So, if I were to click on this album, I could actually hit play selection and it would go right into the player and play it. I could also hit shop for more music online here, and it would take me to actually the same place we're taking you inside the Windows Media Player, where you could find out where you could buy other albums by this artist, or I could actually choose to copy to CD here. Now, one of the things I wanted to point out, so we were talking about people with MP3 collections, and based on your downloading history in here, I'm going to assume all of you fit into that category. So I have some downloaded files here. So I want to show you, which by the way are sometimes WMA as well as MP3. But let's just take a look at these files in a detailed view. So one of the things that you can do when you're in this view is you can actually edit really easily the columns that are actually showing up. For instance, if I wanted to turn on genre here, I could turn on genre, and it will be the genre that you're actually seeing in the player, except for the case here on MP3, sometimes when they store code, and when you're inside the player, we'll actually show you whatever 32 equates to, which off the top of my head I couldn't possibly tell you, but I'm going to guess it's rock. Anyway, so you can do that, and you can actually edit all your properties here as well. And notice here's the same hover with your basic metadata like I showed you inside the player, and you can actually get to your properties as well. Now, one of the primary things that we heard from people who have a lot of MP3 collections, a lot of young people, college age, and I have two of these young people, myself, both of my kids are in this age range, so I get like lots of feedback from them and from their friends on any possible improvement that we might actually need to make to suit their lifestyle. So one of the things that we found is people who download a lot of content, they organize it in some way. They already have it on their hard drive organized in some way, either in folders that are either related to the date or what they wanted to do to it or the artist or whatever like that. So we wanted to make it actually easy for those users to get that content into our library where they could make use of our playlist drop down and everything in the same organization they already had. So what we've added is a capability. So we've got this nicely sorted. So let's actually pick all my MP3 files here. And I could also do this by folder. And I'm going to go here and I'm going to say add to playlist. And right now, since I'm trying to create a new one to match that organization, I'm going to say my MP3s. And that's probably not what you would name it. You would name it, you know, Sting or Madonna or whoever the tracks were. And you can actually get there. And now if I go back in here to now playing, you'll see here is my MP3. So these have now been added to the library. So it makes it really easy for someone to take their exact organization and just with a single right click move that exactly as that grouping is into our library.
Can you show the group by feature? If you're type A like me and you download a lot of music and just drop it into a single folder, you know you want to organize everything by artist because you're downloading individual files. So you have a bunch of different artists in there. You can actually right mouse click in here and choose group by, and it will actually convert everything in your library so that it's organized by any one of, I think, 7 different types of media information.
Yeah, where is that? View?
Right here. Groups. So if you come in arrange icons by and show in groups, notice how it's automatically organizing these. So I can do it by name, for example. I can do it by type. So if I want to see all of my Windows Media Audio and all my MP3, I can go ahead and split that out. I can do the same thing for artists or albums as well.
And likewise, you know, you can still be sorting. I don't know if you've noticed me clicking on these things, but you can actually sort on any one of these columns by genre, by artist, by album as well. Just making it easy for you to deal with all of your collections. So one last thing I actually want to show you here in my music is you can, if you have your collections here, initiate your burn from here. So I can just hit copy to audio CD, and it's going to put me right into the player. It's saying will not fit, by the way, because I don't have a
We have an audio CD in there right now.
CD. I don't have a burn, burning CD in there. But it throws me right into here. And so let me just talk about this pane, because this is actually the last piece of what people do in the typical music scenario. So we played it, we ripped some of it, we've downloaded some of it, we've gotten it all into the library. Now we might listen to it, or we might export it to a portable device, might burn a custom CD, any of those things. So we've done a lot of work in this pane also to make it easier. So one is that we have changed the name of the tab again, the task button, to copy to CD or device. We just simply called it portable device in our last version, and that meant little. It didn't mean anything to anybody. Portable device, what's that? So we actually got more specific, and so that people could discover it. So you saw that I came in here directly with the burn. Now this is the same place. I can actually get at any of the devices that I have attached to my system as well. So we do everything in exactly the same manner. Also note that this is an audio CD that I'm trying to burn. So down here, I'm actually reading the CD that's in here, because on all these devices we show you the content. It's actually showing me the time, and the items that I have selected over here, it's showing me the number of items, and it's actually showing me the number of minutes. Now if I select a device, it's going to show me the room instead of minutes, because room is what's important. So you can see if I start unclicking these things, the number down here is going down, so that I can actually try to get down to the number of minutes that I want.
Yeah, it's not actually going to go because we.
Yes, we don't have the CD in here, but that's fine. So We do have the instructions up here, though, for the users that say insert a blank CD so that they know what to do. Likewise, if you come into this pane, which, by the way, is quite common, and you don't have any of your devices attached, and you don't have anything, you know, what it'll say up there is connect your device, and we will refresh it for them. So just trying to give the user, you know, some of the look and feel. So kind of taking you from beginning to end on some of the things that we're doing. I wanted to just wrap back around to what we've done in performance before I actually hand it off to Sean, who's going to show you some of the video stuff. So we focused on, like I mentioned before, performance that assists in, that improves the speed from playback. Within the player, it was always actually pretty good. Everything's already up and loaded. The UI is up there. You know, you just click on something and it plays. But particularly, a lot of people who have already been using MP3s and have a lot of them stored on their hard drive, that model is often, let me double click on a file or a collection of files and play. So we really focused in on the amount of time it actually takes us to go with player not up, double click on a track, launch player, and begin playing. And we actually are twice as fast as we were before, so we've made giant strides in that area. Likewise, click on the icon just to launch the Windows Media Player. Have improved that as well. We are twice as fast as we were before. The other areas we concentrated on were the one that I did, stick a CD in and launch. We have a lot of that, of course, is CD spinning up to speed and that sort of thing, but across Windows we've actually improved that by several seconds on any CD insertion. Now, the types of things that we do to improve these, a couple of different things. One, we actually change the code to tighten it up, and two, we just do a lot of optimization on actually how the player is constructed. So we look to see, you know, what VLLs are actually loaded, what sequence we go through when we do that particular type of operation, and then we make sure that's the order in which we load, and we only load those things that are necessary on that kind of operation. So we've made a lot of improvement there. So with that, I'm going to actually hand off to Sean here and let him show you some of the video, unless you guys have any questions. Oh, yes? Okay.
We'll have lots of questions.
Okay, yes. I can actually hardly, there we go.
Let's take 2 or 3 questions.
Okay, all right. Here in the front here.
The question I had, you can sort like a lot of different means and you can edit. What I haven't run across, what might be really helpful, I don't know if you've thought of this before, is with some artists, you may end up having 5 or 6 copies of the exact same song in different areas. They have it on the original CD, on a best of CD, on maybe a soundtrack from a movie. Is there any thought for maybe doing a pointer, or if it recognizes you're copying the same song you already have somewhere else, just doing a pointer to the original rather than taking it to additional space, or having the same song multiple times on the hard drive?
Yeah, that's actually that's an interesting input. We do not. What?
Repeat the question.
Oh, sorry. He's asking if can we detect that you're getting a second copy of a song that you already have, and can we just, instead of actually having a second track, make a pointer? We have looked at that before. It's currently not in the media player. Some of the reasons that we haven't put it in to date is there are sometimes that people actually want the multiple tracks, and we haven't spent the time right now to work through the logic. But that's actually a really good, as people are downloading more, I think we're going to have that more and more common, and I'm sure that's something that we will look at. So that's good input.
The scenario where you have like the recording and the live version is something which is really challenging. But one power tip that you might actually use is that the search functionality inside the shell will search across your media information as well, so that metadata. So you can go ahead and do a search right in the shell for that particular track name or particular artist name, and go ahead and delete the other ones that don't exist. Another thing to note is that for those of you who like to move your files around, we have something called intelligent media tracking built into the operating system. So what that means is that if I move, my Lenny Kravitz from one folder to another and go to the media player to play it back, it will say, okay, it's actually moved, and determine where it moved to and automatically start playing it without missing a beat. So actually, another power tip on that point, Works best with the NTFS volume system, which is going to be by default on new installs for Windows XP, just because there's additional APIs that we can tap into.
And of course, you can actually search and sort by the name inside the player as well. But we will look at the automatic stuff. Yes, over here. There's two. Yes, Red.
Media Player does an excellent job right now of burning audio CDs for use in standard CD burners. Is there any thought to add any functionality of burning directly from Media Player in WMA format for saving large collections?
So yes, there is thought to that. Right now in the Windows Media Player, or XP, we are using actually Windows technology to do the burning and integrating it in. Windows Media Player in this version is burning audio CDs, but we do have from the shell the capability to burn in WMA. So you could, let's get to some tracks here. So you could actually send to these lights are like audio CD, which here it's going to tell you we don't have the audio CD in. And actually, when you initiate the burn there, you can choose audio CD or you can choose to write files. So within Windows XP, you will have the capability to do that both for MP3s and WMAs. Yes, here.
Is there a limit on how many files you can keep inside Media Player? I.e., I have 5,500 MP3s, and when I try to sort them by artists, it's poking. I have a dual processor machine with 512 megs of RAM, and it's really poking.
Yes, there is no physical limit, and that is actually an area in the last month we've really been concentrating on performance improvements, is when you actually have very large libraries. And so I think that when this version comes out, you will see drastic improvement over what you're seeing now. It really has to do with how we treat the metadata in large libraries and when we actually are trying to do anything with that information. So we have improved it drastically over the last 3 weeks. So as opposed to limiting the size of libraries, because we expect people to have bigger and bigger and bigger libraries, we're really focusing on making the performance when you have a large library be better. And oh, I didn't repeat the question, I'm sorry. His question was, are we limiting the number of tracks in the library? Because in the current player, he's got 5,500 tracks, and you can definitely feel the load of that as you try to sort.
I'm sorry, we're actually compressed on time, so I'll be hanging around, and I'm sure Linda can stick around at the end of the presentation to answer any questions that you might have.
All right.
But at this point, what I thought we'd do is do a little taste test, do a little audio and video quality comparison between Windows Media Audio and Windows Media Video 8 and some of the other technologies that are available. So let's go ahead and take a look at that. So as we discussed, we launched just about 2 months ago Windows Media Audio and Video 8. In fact, earlier this week we just made available Windows Media Technologies, or Windows Media 7.1, which is a point one update to our encoding utility, so that you can go ahead and encode content using our latest codecs. Also updating the player so that you can go ahead and rip your music in the better audio fidelity of Windows Media Audio 8. That can be a little bit confusing between the version numbers, and we recognize that. But the best way to describe it is that we have the player, which is its own application, and then you have the codec technology, which actually it's like an engine that you can drop in. So you just literally just plug that into the media player. Same thing is true of our encoding utilities. So you can literally just, we're able to continue to improve the audio and video quality while still allowing you to use your existing media player or your existing encoding utilities. So why don't we go ahead and do a quick demo here. So let me go ahead and start this up. So the first thing I'd like to do is, I have a couple of different tracks here. I'm going to play 2 different clips. One is going to be the original CD source, okay, in a WAV file, and the second one is going to be a Windows Media Audio compressed file. So what I want to do is have you listen to them, and then I'm going to ask you which one is the compressed version, and then I'm going to ask you what bit rate it was compressed to. One second here. Let me go ahead and switch this over, that might help. All
can feel the magic floating in the air.
Okay, clip B.
I can feel the magic floating in the air.
Okay, how many people in the room think that clip A was the compressed version? Okay, that's about 25% of the room. All right, so how many people think that clip B was the compressed version? Okay, that's fair. Now, what bit rate do you think that was compressed to? Let's say 64 kilobits per second. 128. Okay, what about 48 kilobits per second? Okay, well, some of you have probably seen this before, but yeah, that was actually compressed to 48 kilobits per second. So you transfer that to a portable device where you're running on a treadmill, or maybe you're going out biking where there's a lot of ambient noise. I guarantee you will not hear the difference, and you'll get nearly 3 times the amount of music that you get just by using MP3. So that's how we're kind of pushing the envelope here. To give you a couple of other examples here, we actually did what was called a waveform subtraction test. And what this does is it actually takes a standard MPEG-4 test tone, all right, and uses that takes that sound, then compresses that in the different formats, and then allows you to just hear the difference, okay, what's actually thrown out during the compression process. So for example here, we have an example with MP3. Okay, so what you heard was actually what was thrown out during the compression process. Now let's play Windows Media Audio 8 at 64K. Now let's play Real Audio 8 at 64K. So I know what you're thinking. Okay, Microsoft went ahead and duped this test. We actually have a white paper up on our website which fully describes how this test was done. In fact, in a recent independent test by a major publication, the person who actually did that is here in the room, but I don't want to mention his name without his permission, went ahead and took our test results and independently verified that what happens is that we have a different philosophy in terms of our audio compression. We believe that it should be as true to the original source as the artist originally intended it. Not capitalizing on the fact that consumers have crappy speakers that cost $7 to the OEM in order to deliver to them. We want that music to be played on your Dell audio receiver or your Rio receiver connected up to $15,000 stereo speakers and sound just as good as it does on your high-end or crappy speakers in your PC. Now, what Real actually does is at about 1.4 kilohertz, they convert all stereo content to mono at 64 kilobits per second. So what you're really listening to, especially when you're listening to the highs, is mono content. So that's why you're hearing the difference there between the two. And if you're interested in more about that, I'll be around afterwards, and I can go ahead and point you out the white paper, and you can go ahead and do the tests on your own. So that's the audio side. Let's go ahead and take a look at the video side. We made some major breakthroughs with Windows Media Video 8 in terms of video compression. It's about 30% better than what we had available with Windows Media Video 7. And we can now do near DVD quality as low as 250 kilobits per second and near DVD quality as low as 500 kilobits per second. Now, naturally, your mileage is going to vary depending upon the complexity of the content. But let's just go ahead and take a look at this.
In the fall of 1991, the Andrea Gale left Gloucester, Massachusetts.
So you put this up on a television screen right next to the actual VHS tape, and you will be hard-pressed to see the difference. Now, of course, we're amplifying and magnifying all the the little discrepancies here because, or the compression, because we're on a very large projector. But this gives you an idea of the full screen quality that's available at 250 kilobits per second just by compressing the content in Windows Media Video 8. Now here's an example of near DVD quality at 500. So that gives you an idea there. So we're making a big step here in terms of the video quality. Now, you go to sites like filmspeed.com or sitesound.com and take a look at what they have available today. You can actually download full-length, feature-length movies like To Kill a Mockingbird absolutely for free and go ahead and play those on your PC. So it's actually becoming popular in the digital media divisions. When we go out on a business meeting, it seems the airlines, the movies are getting really bad. So we just download a movie to our laptops and watch it while we're on the flight. I really encourage you to go to sites like windowsmedia.com and check out the content, because you'll start to see more and more content showing up in Windows Media Video 8. Now, just to give you another comparison here, and I want to explain what we did here. We took the D1 master, we got it from Universal Studios for this Gladiator clip. We then took that uncompressed 640 by 480 AVI, 24 frames per second, true to the original source. We used a very special piece of equipment in order to do this. We then took that AVI file and used the maximum compression settings for real networks in terms of their buffer window and their 2-pass variable bit rate. And then we did the same thing with Windows Media Video 8, and this is what we came up with. Now lastly, there's been a lot of discussion recently about MPEG-4. Just out of curiosity, how many here have heard of DivX? Not surprised. Okay, we'll talk about DivX here in a few minutes, but Microsoft does actually ship an ISO MPEG-4 compliant codec. There's a lot of confusion right now about what MPEG-4 is exactly. For example, Tom's Hardware ran an article which picked the best MPEG-4 codec. Well, there is only one MPEG-4. It's International Standards Organization, or ISO MPEG-4. Now, the interesting thing about MPEG-4 is that Microsoft contributed considerable intellectual property to the ISO MPEG-4 format. We then progressed and continued to do better and better on top of our own technology, which was known as MS-MPEG-4, versions 2, version 3, then Windows Media Video 7, Windows Media Video 8. So now Windows Media Video 8 is about 3 generations ahead of where ISO MPEG-4 is today. To give an example, so in general, we're seeing about 30% to 50% better compression rates with Windows Media Video 8 than what's available with ISO MPEG-4. Now, ISO MPEG-4, and this is a simple profile, is going to continue to get better and better. But Windows Media Video 8 is already 3 generations ahead of what's available in MPEG-4 today. So the last comparison I wanted to do was another side-by-side. One's going to be the actual DVD source. The other one is going to be compressed Windows Media Video clip. So I want you to pick which one's the DVD source. Okay, which one do you think is the actual DVD? Clip A? Clip B? All right, so let's see a show of hands for Clip A, the actual DVD source. Okay, that's about, how many, Linda?
Well,
About 20 to 25% of the room. Okay, so the rest think that Clip B is the actual DVD. You take a look at them. The first one was the actual DVD source playing off the DVD drive. The other one was 750 kilobit per second Windows Media Video. So a couple of the scenarios that we see kind of being enabling over the next couple of years are downloadable movies, for example, going to sites like filmspeed.com and downloading those movies and being able to experience that kind of quality, whether or not it's being streamed or downloaded. So let me show you some of the things that we've done in Windows Media Player to enable those types of scenarios. Well, we'll start first with the most popular digital video format, DVD. Well, inside of Windows Media Player for Windows XP, we now have full DVD playback support. So let me show you what that means. I'm going to go up here, and I have my Gladiator DVD in my PC. I'll go ahead and start playing that. Now you notice when I expand this, that just like with audio CDs, we've gone out to the internet and we've retrieved all the chapter listings for my particular DVD. Now we're still building out this database and adding more titles literally on a daily basis, but it's our target to try to catch at least 90% of the top blockbuster hits over the last 10 years.
Users have been really quite responsive to this chapter list that they can actually see right on here. That's tested very well.
So I can go ahead and jump around here. I can go ahead and go full screen. And you'll notice we have the new full screen controls. If I don't move the mouse, they go ahead and slide away automatically. This is enabled for both Windows Media Video and DVD, so any content that you're playing back. Now if I want to jump around, I can access the playlist right here. If I want to access the root DVD menu, I can do it right there. So again, it makes it very easy for consumers to go ahead and experience their digital media full screen. We also have a couple of other things here for DVD. You notice that we have the media information. We also have high-speed DVD controls. So let me go ahead and play a track here. You notice I can fast forward and rewind very quickly. Go ahead and pause, go to next frame. You also notice that right mouse click support is now enabled throughout video support inside of Windows Media Player for Windows XP. This is actually one of those usability things that we found drove people nuts. Not being able to right mouse click right on the video and be able to pop it into full screen or access the DVD features or within Windows Media Video, just being able to fit it to window, for example.
And if I could just add a point, that context menu is actually contextual. So if you have your visualizations up and you right click, it's going to let you switch between your visualizations.
Right. And to give you another example here, we just have a couple of film trailers. So I can go ahead and play A Perfect Storm again. And you notice that when I go full screen, I have those same full screen controls accessible. And I can see my full playlist for both DVD and Windows Media Video. So what we're trying to do is make Windows XP the best operating system for experiencing your digital media, whether or not you're acquiring, managing, or publishing your music, maybe out to a portable device or burning it out to an audio CD. We're trying to do the same thing for video. And what we've just done is kind of show the video playback experience. But what I'd like to do now is switch gears a little bit and talk about video creation. Just out of curiosity, how many people in the audience have actually played with Windows Movie Maker and Windows Millennium Edition? Okay, a pretty fair amount. It had some limitations in terms of what you could do with it, but it was really designed to introduce mainstream consumers who wouldn't go out and spend $100 or $200 to go buy a video capture board and all the software, or a $500 package in order to do a home video editing. Designed to introduce them to the activity and kind of grow that market. So you'll notice that with Windows Movie Maker and Windows XP, we made some additional enhancements above and beyond that. So the first one I want to show you is I actually have a digital video camera here. So I'm just going to go ahead and turn this on as if I just plugged it in via FireWire to my system. And you'll notice on my PC, I went ahead and got a pop-up here, which is asking me, okay, what activity do you want to do? Do you want to go ahead and record your video? Do you not want to take any action at all? Because this is a 1394 connected device, so there may be other devices on the network that on other PCs I don't want to see. So I'm just going to go ahead and choose record video. The first thing that you'll notice is that it pops up with the new or improved record window. Sorry about that. So you can go ahead and look. And one of the things you'll notice down here is I've actually set my default setting down here to other. And we have some new settings. For example, you can now do DV, uncompressed AVI, straight to your hard drive so that you get that full DV quality for when you're doing your editing inside of Movie Maker. You can go ahead and, for example, use the default setting, which was based on usability studies. I believe that default setting is 128 kilobits per second. So 128 kilobits per second, you'll get about 12 hours to 14 hours of content per gigabyte just by compressing it at that format.
And Sean, if you drop that menu down again, where you had your choices. notice that we also have added video for PDA devices, because our current Pocket PC devices, we now have a player on them that can play video on those devices as well. So you can have the video of your friends and family or your birthday party or your whatever and carry them around on your PDA and show them to all your friends. Do it all with Movie Maker, and you can export it in the player.
Yeah, so let's actually take a look at that. So here I'm actually grabbing my video. You notice people moving their legs. Go ahead and save that out if I want to. But what I'm going to go ahead and do here is open up a project that I've been working on. My wife and I got married last year about this time, and I've been putting together a movie for her over time. And here I actually captured this on this digital video camera, and here we can see that I've just gone ahead and taken a number of different clips. Use my audio.
Yeah, you did.
Am I back on?
Nope.
Yeah, looks like we got that battery. Let me see. Thanks. Okay, so what I'm going to do now is I'm just going to go ahead and show you some of the improvements that we've made here. You notice that the UI has actually been improved based upon usability. It's a little bit more understandable for doing email, sending via email, or sending to a web server. We've actually improved the web server functionality so that it's easier for you to publish to a particular folder, maybe on your personal web server, or publish to more services. Another thing that we have here is if you go ahead and click on Save Movie, the nomenclature has actually changed because we found that consumers were still getting a little bit confused about where exactly they could do this. You notice that we have the ability to output for color PDA devices, for example. So I'm just going to go ahead and choose OK. Choose to save this. I'm going to go ahead and replace the one that I got there. And while it's creating the movie, you notice that I can also output my content in DVAVI format. So the reason that we did that was like some people like to archive. They have massive 80 gigabyte hard drives and want to be able to store all their content on those hard drives in the uncompressed format. So you can go ahead and just spool that stuff off to your system. That's the same way that, for example, iMovie would operate. But the big difference here is that we support compression in real time, either whether or not you're acquiring the content or whether or not you're outputting the content. You're able to get it into a compressed format using Windows Media Video, so it's easy to share with family and friends. It's not just about maybe burning it to a CD. So this has gone ahead and saved it, so I'm going to go ahead and watch it now. Here we can see that clip. We see that it was optimized in terms of the size for transfer to my Pocket PC. And one of the other new features that we have in Windows Media Player for Windows XP is the ability to transfer videos to your Pocket PC. Just out of curiosity, how many people here have a Pocket PC? Actually, a pretty fair amount. So now what you can do is just go ahead and take that movie, and in this drop-down, I can go ahead and select my Pocket PC. And the first thing that you'll notice here is that now we allow you to go ahead and search through the file system on the Pocket PC and select exactly where you want to put the video. Here I can go ahead and select it and just go ahead and click the copy button, and it'll go ahead and copy it over. So what I'm about to show you is what's under NDA. Okay, so what I'm about to discuss up until the end of the demo, so we're going out on a limb here and just asking that you guys really trust us and don't talk about this publicly. So what I have here is the next generation of Windows Media Player for Pocket PC. So let me go ahead and bring this up. Okay. Now, a couple of new features that we have for this version of Windows Media Player. This version of Windows Media Player now supports streaming as well as downloaded content. You might remember that we had this separate tech preview. Well, we've brought both of the code bases together. Now we have a single all-in-one media player, which will allow you to play content whether or not you're connected via like an 802.11 wireless network like we are here. You can actually watch live video. Or you can go ahead and download content to your Pocket PC. So let me give you a couple examples here. First, here's that wedding video that I was putting together. Go ahead and select that. Plug in. It's a little difficult to see here on the wall faces, but I'll give this to Evan so he can go ahead and walk around and show it to you guys. I want to show you one of the other neat things that we have here. You now have the ability to go in here. Let me go ahead to Tools, settings, audio and video, full screen support. So what I can now do is go ahead and select that same movie. Actually, I'm going to choose this one. This is a different one that I put together. Turn it sideways. Just lost my audio. But now you can go ahead and watch your video sideways. If it's oversized, you can go ahead and set it to automatically, hey, if it's oversized, turn it sideways so that I can watch it in a larger view. So this is something that we're really excited about. Stay tuned. Okay. Okay. When it's ready, before the end of the month. Sorry. So let me show you something you can go ahead and play around with. Okay, and again, I'm asking that you hold this under NDA and just keep it within the group right now, because we'd like to be able to continue to show you guys this kind of stuff and be able to get your early feedback. So here, I'm going to go into Pocket IE, and you'll notice that I'm at pocketwindowsmedia.com or windowsmedia.com mobile. So what we're doing is we're actually working with all the different content providers to deliver content on a format which is easy for you to access wirelessly on your Pocket PC. So you can do that over your Ricochet network. You can do it if you're at the office or at home. I actually have an 802.11 wireless internet set up within the house. So what I can do here is just go ahead and select, and we'll see how this works because this is live demoing. So it's going ahead and it's buffering the content right now. Got a lot of, and there you go. That's actually live being streamed. It's a preview of Swordfish. I know it's very difficult to see here on this because it's not very sharp, but that's actually a live connection to the internet. You can see the wireless internet or Ethernet connection is actually blinking there. So this gives you a sneak preview of what's to come. We're really dedicated to supporting Windows Media technologies and making Windows the best platform for digital media, whether or not you're sitting in your desktop or whether or not you're on the go. So let me show you another sneak preview of some stuff that we're working on here. I'm going to actually switch back here for a second and talk a little bit about some of the core AV improvements that we're doing to Windows XP. So you've heard a lot of us talking about audio and video quality, but what's underneath the gut? What's at the guts of the operating system? I'm jumping over a bunch of slides. Those are there for your reference, so you can kind of get an idea of where we stack up. First thing, digital broadcast architecture is built into Windows XP. What does this mean to tech enthusiasts? What this means is today, if you want to experience HDTV, you have to go out and buy a $5,000 television capable of displaying it, and then a $3,000 receiver that's capable of getting it. Then you got to get an antenna, and you got to install it on top of your house. Consumers already have a monitor capable of displaying high-definition television in your homes today. But there are some TV tuners that are coming out which do about, they cost somewhere around $400 or $500. With this new digital broadcast architecture in Windows XP, we are actually working with vendors to deliver high-definition television-capable TV tuners for under $100. So that means that this now becomes a weekend project for consumers to experience HDTV just using a modified version of the rabbit ear, so to speak. So like I said, we are not going to be providing this functionality in terms of a player, but all the functionality is built into the operating system in a standard way, which is going to rapidly allow ISVs and hardware vendors to go ahead and deliver that functionality. A couple of the other things that we have here, that also enables IP data broadcasting. So we actually have one of the major networks here in town, which is broadcasting a carrier feed on top of their HDTV signal, IP-based Windows Media video at 750 kilobits per second. So with this type of architecture, it's very feasible for somebody like a major broadcast station that has already invested in HDTV to offer pay-per-view movies that are available, that are automatically streamed, whether or not you have a broadband internet connection, at 750 kilobits per second right down to your PC. So this is really exciting stuff. You're going to start to see this stuff starting to come online. And it's Windows XP's core foundation layer that makes that all possible. Accelerated video rendering, DirectX video acceleration. What that does is basically takes all that decompression that we used to do on the main CPU and offloads it onto your 3D graphics pipeline. So what that means is faster performance on your PC overall when you're doing basically any type of video rendering. I'm sorry, I just got ahead of myself here. So that's actually the video mixer renderer here. DirectX VA, what that does is actually does acceleration and improves motion compensation in software. So in the past, you had to have like a hardware add-on board for MPEG-2 decoding that would really do a good job. Now it can all be done in software, and it can be done much more fast and a lot easier. The last thing I wanted to point out down here is expanded audio card feature support. What do we mean by that? What we mean is today, if Creative wants to go out and implement DTS or Dolby Digital, they have to write their own layer to talk to the operating system, to grab it and decode it and go ahead and push it out through their sound card. What we've done is we've actually standardized the way that sound cards talk to the operating system and provided a plug-in layer which allows them to go ahead and license and plug in Dolby Digital support, DTS support, any future type of audio compression or decompression support in a way that's standardized throughout the operating system. And again, the reason that we're doing that is make it easier and faster for these products to come to market. So I wanted to give you another sneak preview of some other technology that we're working on. And this technology that I'm about to show you is just an example of what the graphics and the performance of Windows XP. Let me go ahead and switch here. We lost the switch there for a second. So what you're seeing is something that will not ship as a part of Windows XP, but it's an example of a new type of technology, a new product which we're going to be coming to market with. Now this is all being rendered in real time. This is the Space Station Freedom as seen from a camera view that's swooping around the world. So we're actually using full 3D acceleration in order to do this, and this could conceivably be used as like a screensaver of sorts. So if you take a look at the top and you take a look at it, we actually have just the standard GeForce card in the system, and I'm getting consistently about 30 frames per second performance out of this. So this is just a sneak preview, the slightest glimpse of what's to come and what's going to be capable in terms of the audio and video performance of Windows XP. So switching back here for a second, I'm going to ask Linda to join me. So just very quickly, like I said, Windows Media Player 7.1 was released this week. You can go ahead and upgrade your operating system by downloading it today off of Microsoft.com/WindowsMedia or WindowsMedia.com. And this is a quality update. So what we're doing is we're just adding Windows Media Audio 8 ripping support into it. We now have this new smart transcode, and what that does is if you rip all of your music on your PC to like 64K or 96K, and then you want to copy it down to your portable device, we can actually greatly improve the fidelity in doing the transcode down to a lower bit rate, like 32 kilobits per second, just for transfer onto that portable device. So go ahead and play with that a little bit, and you get to experience it. The other thing is Enterprise Deployment Pack is coming this summer. So for corporations that want to standardize on Windows Media Player 7.1, we're developing this to make it a lot easier for you to go ahead and manage and deploy those installations. So now specifically, what's new since Beta 2? I'm going to ask Linda to kind of walk you guys through this as senior architect. She can tell you exactly what her team's been up to.
Well, can you guys hear me? I'll hand it back on my
Here we go.
Oh, you're going to hand it back? That's great. They can probably hear me anyway. I showed you actually several of the features. We added the lyrics and the album art, specifically being able to retrieve it from existing files like MP3s as well. We added a new visualization pack, which both Sean and I were using at the times when we had the visualizations up. It's a pretty cool one. It's all mathematically based, and it's got 25. Yeah, you've got it up there. 25 vises actually in the pack. The full screen controls that you saw in the DVD, they're available, the DVD demo available for DVD and video. Those are new, working since beta. We've been increasing what we've been doing on our DVD decoder front so that in preparation actually for the launch and making sure that all of our upgrade scenarios work well with DVD playback. The other thing that's actually been going on that I don't actually see up here though I'm reading quickly, it could be, is we've really been focusing on the device support, the portable devices that actually work with the player. That's an ongoing thing, and that's one of the pieces of feedback we did get from our user market about how well the devices worked or didn't work on Windows and with the Windows Media Player. So we're doing work with those, just like we do with display cards and everything else, working with the vendors.
In your slide deck, you will actually find 2 slides which will give you an idea of what portable devices are going to be supported out of the box in Windows XP. Same thing for video capture cards. So I know that may be difficult to read on the slides, so we'll make sure that those are put up on a share as well as screenshots that you can go ahead and use.
The other big difference you'll see since beta and the release version, I've pointed out a couple of them, is we've really been focusing in on performance improvements. I commented on several of them. One is the very full library. The other is, of course, CD launch. We'd actually already worked on the double-click on a file launch for the, well, not for actually beta 2, I guess in some of the IDWs that are out afterwards. So those types of finishing touches to make things actually just work better, a lot of that has actually been going in as well. My Music folder, I showed you the CD burn available from My Music. I don't know that that was actually available in beta 2. And of course, we've continued to focus on supporting the MP3, both retrieving the album art from the MP3 and formalizing our plug-in capability so that MP3 encoding would be available.
Very quickly, I'll look at the Movie Maker. You'll notice that we have the form and feel improvements throughout. The major work that went into Movie Maker was, of course, converting over the engine to the Windows 2000, or correction, the Windows XP engines in terms of functionality. We also have new profiles supporting DVAVI as high as 720 by 480 resolution, 30 frames per second. Of course, you know, one of the big questions that everybody's asking is, why would I want to go out and buy an 800 to 1 gigahertz machine? Well, this is an example. You'll actually be able to capture that content and spool it directly onto your hard drive and get the highest quality possible. We have the new profiles for the Pocket PC as well as other PDAs, such as the palm-sized PC. And then we also have autoplay when you connect it, and we've just made some improvements to the menus. So with that, here's just very quickly those 2 slides that I mentioned earlier. The devices that are going to be shipping with support for Windows XP right out of the box. So iOmega HipZip, the Compact PA1, Rio 600, the Rio 800, the Compact Pocket PCs, the Rave MP 2300. All these major portable music devices support Windows Media Audio natively. So you'll be able to get plug-and-play support with those. You also notice that in terms of DVD decoders, this is actually a big question that we're often asked. Why isn't Microsoft shipping a DVD decoder, an MPEG-2 decoder, in our operating system? Well, the reason for that is you as consumers already pay for a DVD decoder every time you go buy a new PC, or most of the time when you go to buy a new DVD drive aftermarket. That's because it comes with software like InterVideo WinDVD. And you have actually paid at least a couple dollars, in excess of up to $20 or $30, just to get that functionality. So why would we charge you twice in order to get that? So what we've done is we've enabled Windows Media Player to just plug into that functionality. So we can go ahead and pick up that functionality, and you can use Windows Media Player as your DVD player. Now, in terms of CD burners, another big question that we get is, well, so Microsoft's providing CD burning in Windows XP. How fast is it? Well, you've probably seen up on our website, for example, we say that Windows Media Player for Windows XP is up to 700% faster than what was available prior. Well, that reason is because if you take a look at Media Player 7 that shipped with Windows Millennium Edition, you were locked to a maximum 2-time burn speed. With Windows XP, it's fully unlocked. So you get a brand new PC with a 17-time burner, you're going to get all that extra performance and all the extra speed when you're burning your CDs. Now, how do we make this functionality possible? We've actually partnered with Adaptec, now known as Roxio, to deliver this core level functionality inside the operating system so that they can concentrate and say, hey, we already know it's stable, we already know it's reliable, we already know it's high performance. We can differentiate and provide additional value above and beyond that. So in terms of Movie Maker, most important thing is if you want to do digital video, make sure you have what's called an OHCI compliant 1394 card. Most of them are. You go out and get like, Pyro DV, for example. Most of the cards out there are OHCI compliant, but make sure that you get one that is. So now on to the FAQs. We get these questions quite a bit, so I figured we'd address these up front. We've already done the first one. Why doesn't Media Player or MPXP include MP3 ripping over 56K? We actually had that 56K in beta 2 for our own internal testing. We didn't really expect that consumers were going to be going out and ripping their music at 56K and thinking, oh, wow, this sucks, so we're going to go to Windows Media Audio. We feel that Windows Media Audio stands alone on its own merits. So why isn't MPXP available down level? Just out of curiosity, how many people heard or downloaded some bits that were packaged up illegally and put out on the net as being Windows Media Player 8? Okay, thank God. Because if you did, Media Player 7.1 won't install. What happened was somebody out there ripped a bunch of components out of beta 2 of Windows XP, created their own installation package, and started saying, hey, this is Windows Media Player 8. Go ahead and install this on your down-level systems. Well, it turns out that it's causing all sorts of problems for consumers. You don't know what's in it. You don't know if it's viruses. Microsoft didn't do it. Why didn't we do it? The reason is because there's specific functionality in MPXP which is based upon new features in Windows XP. So features like the video mixer renderer, the full screen controls, the DVD playback, the integrated audio CD burning, all that's based upon core engine functionality inside of the operating system. So we talked about the CD burning. Now this is another popular question we seem to be getting during the beta testing phase. What's up with DivX? Why doesn't DivX run on Media Player for XP? Well, we haven't done anything to enable or disable DivX in Windows Media Player for Windows XP. What you're doing is you're basically using a hacked version of Microsoft's old MS MPEG-4 v3 codec. And the way that these guys did it was they just figured out how Microsoft registers valid codecs to the operating system. So they went ahead and wrapped up our codec in a DLL and changed a bunch of properties to try to confuse everybody into thinking that it's something new and better and faster and higher quality, and started putting it out there. So then they got a bunch of venture capital, and now they're going off and they're trying to build an ISO MPEG-4 compliant version, which is also known as DivX. So there's a lot of confusion right now about what the two are. But the important thing to take away here is that Windows Media Video 8 is 2 or 3 generations ahead of where MS MPEG-4 v3 was, and by proxy where DivX is today. Now again, I'm talking about DivX 3.11 or prior. They now have DivX 4, which they say is ISO compliant, but again, do your own taste tests. You'll find that Windows Media Video greatly excels in quality over what's available in DivX. So last question, where do I go get screenshots? For example, if you go ahead and take some screenshots of DVD functionality and the like, put it up on a major site, the movie houses may come after you and say, hey, you need to take that down because you didn't get our permission to show a screenshot of our particular application. So what we're going to do is we're actually going to set up a site and we're going to circulate an email. So all you guys can get standard screenshots of Windows Media Player. We're going to do it for all the different functionality. And then we'll also make the slide decks available. I believe they're going to be on CD and available there as well. So I know we're running over time. Maybe we have time for a couple questions.
About DivX, that's fine and dandy. What happens if you've already got pre-existing video in DivX format? How are we now supposed to view that? Playback's now broken.
Sure. So again, the question is, what are you supposed to do if you have content encoded in DivX if Windows Media Player has broken that functionality? Again, we haven't done anything to enable or disable that functionality in Media Player. It's just a bad hack. It's a bad hack job. Sometimes it comes up in reverse. Sometimes it doesn't come up at all. In my experience is half the time when I download movies, they're like a guy with a handy cam up and trying to watch a movie, like The Mummy Returns or something like that. So sorry, can't help you there. It's a hack.
Going back just a little ways, you can burn WMVs to like the iPad handhelds, correct?
Correct.
I saw you do that.
So the question is, can you transfer content video to a Pocket PC?
To a burnable CD.
Question is, can you transfer video to a burnable CD? Absolutely.
So we can do the same thing as we were doing with DivX.
So that's actually an issue with the DCSS compression and the steps that have been made not to copy protect it.
Anything about what goes before,
Sure.
just the after part, when it's in Windows?
So the answer to that, the question is, can you do the same thing with Windows Media Video that you do with DivX? The answer to that is Microsoft's a technology provider. We can't make judgments based upon what's done with the technology. What we do is we are very in tune as an intellectual property company with the rights of the copyright holder. So we have copy protection built into the Windows Media Video format. So that allows people to go ahead and develop legitimate business models around the Windows Media Video format.
And just so you know, any content that actually, any videos that get purchased and downloaded that have DRM protection on them, you know, that will be honored. The totally legit use that we would see people doing is like through Movie Maker, where they make all their home videos and then they want to record them and save them on CD.
That last one, as far as DRM goes, if I do my own little digital video and then want to copy it to a CD, I don't have to go through a whole lot of DRM.
That's correct.
Excellent. Thank you.
So one more question.
I have a quick question about the iPack there.
Sure.
What version of Media Player was that running on that?
So the question is, what version of the Media Player was running on this iPack? It's an unreleased version of the Media Player, which will be available here within the end of the month.